Today we want to consider among the beliefs associated with the Christian faith is what happens after death. We are multicultural societies nowadays, and all around us people believe in all kinds of different things. In African traditional religions, people believe that the dead reincarnate. It's quite common to hear someone telling you, oh, this person is the grandfather coming back to life, or the grandma. And it's one of the reasons, for example, that in Igbo, you hear people calling a boy, Nam, my father, or a girl, Nam, my mother. Why should a little boy or a little girl be called parents? Because people believe or believed before that it was a reincarnation of their elders. And so now the tradition continues calling these children that way without thinking much about what it means. And we know that other religions like Hinduism and other traditional religions, Buddhism, believe in reincarnation. We're not going to look at it now. You could find all you want online. What I'm going to say is that we should not be deceived by what people tell or what you read. The Bible clearly says, that is, God says that it is appointed to people once to die, and after that, judgment, which means that what happens is that people die only once, and after that judgment, they don't come back. The only thing that will happen eventually is that the day Jesus returns, people will be called back to life, to start life in their own transformed bodies. They don't come back as a lion or a spider or even another being. And there are other teachings in the Bible about that. You certainly know the story of the Lazarus and the rich man. It's a story of a tycoon, somebody that was very, very rich, told by Jesus. The person was very rich, he had a mansion, he had food, more than enough, probably threw some of it away every day. He was feeding the whole neighborhood, but there was somebody that he didn't get any food to, and that was a beggar that was staying at the gate of his house. That man was called Lazarus. The rich man, nobody knows his name, and he's also telling us that you may be rich, you may be, well known, but for God, you have no name if you behave like that man did. So the rich man died. He had the glorious burial. You know how it is. Everybody came. It was grandiose. There was a lot of food. There was a lot of care. People spoke very well. Many eulogies. Meanwhile, the poor man also died. And the destination was very different. The rich man went to Sheol. At that time, Jesus had not died, and so it was not hell or heaven, it was Sheol. That's the place where the dead were going. And then the poor man went to the bosom of Abraham in paradise. And then when the rich man arrived where he landed, he found out that that was very, very uncomfortable. It was overheated, he was suffering, there was torment, gnashing of teeth, and there was a huge gap between the two compartments, where he was and where the poor man was. And he could see all that was going on there. The bliss, the happiness of Lazarus in the bosom of Abraham. And so he started calling and said, please, please help me. And begging and said, please give me some water because I'm so thirsty. There is no water. I'm all dry in these flames. I'm suffering. And Abraham told him, there's nothing we can do for you. You had your time. You had everything you needed. Now it's your turn to suffer. And although we see each other, there is a gap and we cannot cross, and you cannot cross either. So the old man, the rich man, said, in that case, okay, too bad for me, but I have 5 brothers. Please send Lazarus back to life to talk about what's happening here to my brothers so that they don't end up being in the same place with me. And that sounded like a nice suggestion, a nice request. And Abraham said, no, we won't do that. It's impossible. Let them believe the law and the prophets. The law and the prophet was what we call today the Torah. That's the books of the Old Testament and the prophets. And the man said, no, you don't understand. Implying that he read the Bible. He knew all about it. But it was not enough for him to pay attention. He said, if they see someone coming back from the dead, they will believe. And we hear that Jesus said, it will not be possible. You cannot come back, and no one will be sent back from the dead. And we know that nowadays, with the improvement of science and medical care, many people have reached what people call a near-death experience. People that even died and saw themselves lifted from their body. There are many stories like that all around the internet. And that man and many others made the same kind of experience, going through a kind of tunnel, seeing a light, being welcomed in a kind of corridor, lobby, and being told, feeling the love, feeling the really good things about that place, and then being told to go back. And they all come and tell their story. But that is not people coming back from the dead. It's people that are just in that gray area between death and the fulfillment of it. And we also know that many people believe that this is true. But remember that this is not what happens. So don't believe stories. Don't believe what you read of all these experiences. There are many books even that have been written about it. What about reading the only book that counts? From the horse's mouth, as people would say. Jesus said, it is appointed unto men to die once, and after that, judgment. And you cannot come back, and you cannot repair what you had done. You cannot undo whatever actions you did in your life. What is done, and we cannot go back. There is no way. And people cannot pray you out of hell. That is also something that is not true. There is nothing like that from Genesis to Revelation. It might be in Apocrypha, but the Bible canon, what has been decided and stamped and confirmed as the Word of God, doesn't ever believe that and doesn't teach it. And so I want to encourage you, use what time you have, and remember, nobody knows what time we have to do good. Bless you.